What's going on, YouTube? RDAP Dan here. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Saturday and a Happy New Year. Hope everybody's getting through the New Year's okay and everybody's getting ready. Today we're going to talk about some really interesting stuff. We're going to be talking about what would you do if I guaranteed you could get probation. That's actually what we're going to be talking about today, coming up next. All right, guys, so as you can see, today's topic, we really want to stay motivated as possible. So in order to do that, we got to have our RDAP juice, aka black coffee, with one sweet and low. What's going on, Jay, Dahl, Tamara, Dave, Juan, Jesse Tang? We got everybody in the house. Welcome, welcome, guys. Glad you could join us. So today's video was actually inspired in the last maybe hour or so. I spoke to two awesome people that are not clients yet, but hoping that they see the benefit in what we do here. I spoke to Abe, who Abe specifically asked me to give him a nice shout out on YouTube. So Abe, I hope you're joining us. Thank you for the awesome phone call. And I also really wanted to say thank you to Bill. I had a great phone call with Bill, and Bill made it very clear that he wants to do everything that he can possibly do to increase the chances of a positive outcome going through this entire experience. What is a positive outcome? Well, that means so many different things to so many different people. And I got so excited about making this video today, I decided I'm going to stand up, and luckily my microphone, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. You'll let me know if you can't. I decided to stand up and do this video because I feel the energy and I want to share this a little bit with you guys. So what would you do if I could guarantee probation? Pretty much, I wonder what anybody would say that. If I promised you, said, hey, if you do everything that we say and every plan that we implement, and if you're willing to work as hard as we need you to work, we can guarantee probation. If we told that to you guys, every single person would be doing everything within their power and within their budget. They would be doing what they can do. Now, obviously, we can't guarantee probation. So for those of you that came to watch this just because of the title, I apologize. We did a little bait there to get you guys to join us. But however, it's still very important because you need to act as if you're going to get probation. You need to act as if everything that you're going to be doing could potentially land you probation. Now, that doesn't mean you'll get probation, but it sure does increase the chances of seeing a successful outcome. Same thing, if I guaranteed you saying, hey, if you do A, B, and C, I guarantee we can give you RDAP. You would do all of these things if you felt confident in the guarantee. However, just because we can't guarantee you RDAP, we can implement a plan that will increase your chances and increase the likelihood of you entering into the residential drug addiction program and not just receiving the 6, 9, or 12 months off of the program, but also getting benefit on what you're going to be doing when you get released from prison, how you can use these tools that you learn in this program to change your thinking and realize that our best thinking is what landed us in prison to begin with. So it all starts with getting motivated and staying focused. Now, getting motivated is half the battle, right? Staying motivated during the tough times. It's easy to do the right thing when everything's going good. And the reason why we're doing this video today is I was on the phone with Bill. And, you know, when I was going into the prison system, you guys, most of you should know, my sentence was 42 months. I was looking at a max of 60 months because of the plea that I took. Without the plea, I was looking at possibly 15 to 20 years without the plea. My base offense level was a 37. I was a criminal category history 0 or 1. I had no criminal history that affected my sentencing guidelines, but my base offense level was up there. It was a level 37. And if you guys go look at the chart and look at where that falls, it's up there. So I took a plea that capped it at 60 months. They couldn't sentence me to anything over 60 months. And I was fortunate during the day of sentencing that the judge downward departed from the recommendation from the PSR, which I believe was 46, or someone's trying to call me on Facebook or something. I hear it ringing. We'll ignore that. I was looking at 46 or 48 months is what was recommended on PSR, and the judge downward departed from there. So when I entered into the prison system, this is when I really started learning about RDAP, halfway house, what I could start doing to maybe possibly reduce a sentence. Everybody was telling me, hey man, what's your sentence? I said 42 months. They're like, well, so you'll probably serve 2.5, 3 years. And I was like, nah, I'm going to get into RDAP. I'm going to get the year off. I'm also going to do what I can do to get a year of halfway house. And everyone laughed, made jokes. Great, great. Can't wait to see how this plans out. Basically hating and putting a lot of negativity out there. Now, it did get to me at first because I don't want to hear that. You know, I'm here to do what I got to do to try to get out as soon as possible. And I've got everybody in the unit telling me, it's never going to happen. Well, I made a decision right then and there to not listen to what anybody else was going to say unless they had something to add that was beneficial. I wasn't going to get involved in the negativity. I wasn't going to get involved in the gossip. I wasn't going to get involved in the prison.com or I heard this rumor, I heard this rumor. I was sticking to facts. I was staying objective, and I was willing to do anything and everything I could to make my journey through prison as successful as possible. So I went through this. I started taking classes. I immediately got involved in a parenting class. I was getting involved in re-entry classes right out of the gate. I got there in September 23rd is when I arrived. I was on the waiting list for RDAP. I went and interviewed, and about a week before RDAP started, the RDAP coordinator, Dr. Smith, said, unfortunately, Mr. Wise, it doesn't look like you're going to qualify for RDAP. And this is the week before the class starts. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You want to talk about like cutting the legs off of somebody? I was counting on this time, really to the point where maybe I had oversold it to my friends and family. Like, hey, I'm getting RDAP, and I hadn't been approved yet. So there I am sitting in Dr. Smith's office. She's the RDAP coordinator or the prison psychologist for the RDAP unit. And she basically tells me, Mr. Wise, you have an open detainer from the state of Georgia. I was like, well, what does that mean? She's like, I don't know. You're going to need to go talk to your case manager and figure it out. So this is on this is like Monday or Tuesday of that week. RDAP was starting the following, it was either Monday or Tuesday of January. So I go to my RDAP, I was in A1 at Coleman Low. So I went to my counselor. His name was Mr. Jimenez, if I remember correctly. And Mr. Jimenez said, what's going on? I said, hey, found out I had to detain her or something. I don't even know what that means. It's saying I can't get into RDAP. And so he looked up his paperwork. He goes, yeah, you have an open case out of Georgia. I'm like, for what? He's like, it just says you have an open warrant. And I'm freaking out going, what could this possibly be? The only case I had in Georgia was when I originally got indicted on why I was in prison, and the state and the feds kind of hit me. Well, first the state hit me, then the feds picked it up. I went to court for the state version of it, and the state agreed to drop charges, null process it because I was going into the feds and I was willing to do what I needed to do to possibly cooperate. So they null processed it, which means the state case was gone. So I thought. Well, come to find out, it was filed incorrectly, and they actually had a warrant for my arrest showing a failure to appear when I was clearly there. I sat in the courtroom and they dismissed everything, but somehow the paperwork got filed inaccurately. So Mr. Jimenez says, well, you're going to have to deal with this on your own. You're going to have to call them. You're going to have to get them to send us paperwork. I'm calling family. I'm calling friends. I reached out to an attorney. I reached out to my attorney that I'd hired, and it just seemed that nobody was able to get anywhere. They just, oh, no answer. They didn't respond. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm at my wit's end. So now it's Friday. And I'm like, I've got basically till 4 o'clock Friday to prove to Dr. Smith that this is a mistake or that it's been overturned in order for her to process my paperwork to get me into the residential drug addiction program, RDAP, for that fantastic, amazingly needed year off that everybody wants, right? So I go in there, I talk to him, and he's like, Mr. Wise, I understand your concern. However, you're not the only inmate that has issues, and I have a lot of other inmates with pressing issues that take precedence over this because I've been working on them prior to you. You can't just expect me to stop everything I'm doing to come and help you. It's kind of like, fuck, you're right. He's like, so that was that. He kicked me out of his office, basically. And that was at about maybe 2 o'clock Friday afternoon. Remember, I had till 4 p.m. So I'm thinking it's over. I'm a little frustrated. I go back to my unit. I go back to my cube. I'm on a top bunk at this point. I climb up on the top bunk. My cellie below me, a guy named Josh Hoskins, who's on my Facebook page. I'm good friends with him to this day. He's out now doing amazing things on his own. I'm laying in my bunk, and Josh is like, don't worry, man. Whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. You know, you just got to, I think he said something like, you just got to trust a little bit in God or something to that nature. So while I'm laying there in my bunk, I mean, when I tell you guys temper, it was there. And there was nowhere to burst out at because it would have created more issues. So I had to lay there and I had to just absorb this fucking horrible information that I just swallowed, basically telling me, sorry, you're not getting into RDAP, not because you don't deserve it or not because you didn't qualify, but because there's a mistake that's outside of my control to fix on my own. Very aggravating to know that stuff is just there that you can't do anything about. So I lay in my bunk, I open up my Bible, I started reading just a couple of little things out of there, and I immediately became very, very, very tired. And the last thing I can remember saying to myself, and this was all in a span of about maybe 30 minutes, is I decided to just not give up, but give in to, hey, this is outside of my control. I cannot change certain circumstances by just being mad about it. So I decided to talk to the big man upstairs, and I just said, God, Jesus, if you're listening right now, I know you can't get me into RDAP. I know that's not within your power, but I am asking you to give me the strength to deal with whatever hurdles come next. If that means I got to do an additional year, I'm asking you to give me the strength to be able to do that and stay positive and not allow this horrible moment that I'm dealing with right now to dictate the rest of my journey through the prison system. I put myself here. I've got nobody to blame but myself. And these are the things that I was saying. So God, if you're listening right now, that's all I'm asking. Boom. I was out like a light, just fell asleep from all the stress. Within about, I don't know, I guess within about 30 minutes or so, I was sleeping. I feel my bunk getting tapped, and it's Josh, my cellie, or my bunkie underneath me, tapping my bunk. And I'm like, what? He goes, Jimenez is calling your name. Jimenez is the counselor. I'm like, what? He goes, Jimenez called your name like 3 times over the speaker. I was like, really? Hold on, let me close this door. Dogs are barking. So I said, okay. So I get up and I'm like, whatever. So I'm walking down to Jimenez, and I'm really just thinking he's there to yell at me. So I walk into Jimenez's office or knock on his door. He's like, come in. And I'm like, you called me? He goes, what is the problem and what do you think it is I can do for you? He looked very aggravated. And so I had about 30 seconds to explain everything that had happened over the last couple months. And I said, well, there's an open detainer out of Georgia, but it's a mistake. I went to court. It was filed. It was closed. There should not be an open warrant. It is a mistake. He goes, how can I help you? Let me ask you again. What is it I can do about this? I was like, you could call them and ask them if I'm correct or is there something I don't know about? Because as far as I know, it's closed. So he's like, do you have the phone number? Man, I ran back to my bunk. I grabbed one of my files. I grabbed the phone number, came back. He called down to Chatham County, which is the clerk's office in Savannah, Georgia. And, you know, they answered the phone, told him who he was. He's got an inmate sitting here in his office in prison. And there seems to be some kind of an open charge. Gave him the case number. And they said, yep, we have a warrant for his arrest for failure to appear. And he said, well, I understand that. However, Mr. Wise is telling me that he went to court and they null processed it because he was cooperating with the government. Is there any way you can check on that? And man, she was so rude. She's like, I highly doubt that's the issue, but give me a moment. Real nasty. She was gone for about 20 minutes and I could just see the patience on Mr. Jimenez's face wearing. Now, RDAP closes, or they shut down they basically go home every day at 4 o'clock. So Mr. Jimenez, waiting. This lady comes back on the phone. She's like, I don't know how we processed this inaccurately, but that is correct. This case is actually null processed, no charges filed, case dismissed. And he's like, is there any way you can fax that to me? She's like, I could probably get it to you Monday or Tuesday or something to that effect. He's like, he goes, I know and I understand. And I appreciate you being able to do that. But right now there's a program that he will not qualify for if we do not get this paper here by 4 p.m. our time, and this could make the difference of a year off of his sentence. And you could just hear the pause and hesitation in this lady's voice, like she did not want to lift a finger to do anything out of the ordinary. But whatever powers it be, me praying to God, Mr. Jimenez getting a soft spot, she went ahead and faxed it over within seconds. So now it's like, it's a little after 4, honestly. It's already past 4 o'clock. He calls down to Dr. Smith's office. No answer. And he's like, looks like we missed her, Mr. Wise. She's already gone home. And he even seems kind of bummed. Like, man, we're like right at the finish line and we're about to just face plant on the pavement. So I said, is there any way you can try her on the walkie-talkie? Those of you that are getting ready to go to prison, you'll find out that any staff member that's on the compound at all times must have their walkie-talkie on them to be able to radio in emergencies. There's an emergency button, they call it a body alarm, where if a guard or somebody else is getting attacked, they smash that button and boom, everybody just goes to where they are. So he picks up the radio, Mr. Jimenez to Dr. Smith. Silence. And man, I'm just literally, I think tears are coming out of my eyes probably at this point. And I'm just like gripping my hands and I'm praying. And all I hear is, yes, Mr. Jimenez, Dr. Smith. I was like, oh, thank God. She's on her way out. She's literally at the R&D where they drop off their walkie-talkies and give in their keys for the day. And he tells her real quick what's going on. And then there's silence in her voice. And she's like, oh. But Dr. Smith has been awesome from day one. She knew who I was. I'd made my name known in there. She knew I really wanted the program. And she said, look, go ahead and put today's date on it. Send it over. Get him packed out, ready to move. When I get in there Monday morning, we'll go ahead and approve it as of Friday's date so he still qualifies for the program. Guys, I slid in there by the skin of my teeth, skin of my nails, whatever that saying is. I barely made it into the RDAP program. And I'll tell you, if I'd listened to everybody else, the peanut gallery, if I'd listened to all of the negative information and just use that to come up with a reason or justify myself to stay lazy and not do these things, I would not have gotten into the program. Hands down, I would not have received the program benefits, not just the time off. I wouldn't have learned the tools that I've learned or relearned, and I wouldn't be here talking to you today. So when I was talking to Bill on the phone and when I was talking to Abe on the phone, these things came back to my mind because these are the things that allowed me to persevere and push hard and never give up. Now, I was able to receive 11 months halfway house on top of my year off. That was not an easy feat either. I was given 6 months for completing RDAP, or 12 months off of the program, 6 months halfway house for completing RDAP, and then I filed for the Second Chance Act or asked for the Second Chance Act. Denied. Sorry, sir, no way. That's when we employed somebody else to help us do what we do for you guys to get additional halfway house time, not knowing if it was going to work, just like a lot of you don't know if you're throwing money out the window or you don't know what's going to happen. But it worked out amazingly. Within 2 or 3 weeks, I got the notice back that the minute I finish RDAP, I'm out the door. So that gave me 11 months halfway house. I finished RDAP. I had like 2 weeks left after that. And it was game over, man. Went home, went to the halfway house. Whole other experience, living in the halfway house, getting to know that lifestyle. But guys, you are in control. You are manifesting whatever is going to happen. And here's what I can promise you. Even though I can't promise you you're going to get probation, and I can't promise you you're going to get RDAP, and I can't promise you you're going to get additional halfway house. I can't promise you any of those things. But what I will promise you is if you're willing to put in the effort and you're willing to work, because you can't expect us to work harder on your file or your situation more than you're willing to work. You have to be willing to put in just as much effort as we're willing to put in. And if you are willing to do that, the one thing that I can guarantee you is no matter what happens, you're going to be prepared for that outcome and you're going to accept it and you're going to embrace it. You're going to learn from it. The people that get caught off guard are the ones that aren't working for it. They're the ones that want it, but they don't work for it. It gets close to where they're getting ready to enter RDAP or they're getting ready for a halfway house, and then all of a sudden they ask for the additional time and the answer is no, and now they're the victim. Oh, the prison's just here to hold me back. The man just wants to hold me down. No, they don't. The prison is designed to not give a fuck. We already know that. So you have to do above and beyond. You hear people all the time saying prison doesn't rehabilitate anybody. Okay, it doesn't. There are programs that the prison has available, but it is not going to hold your hand and say, okay, come to class today. You need to come to class and be a better person when you get released. They don't care. You want to go to class? Great. You don't want to go to class? Okay, we'll have a bed for you waiting when you go back and you fuck up and you come back. It's up to you to be that person that is going to lead the way. Mommy and daddy and whoever's been holding your hand this entire time is not there. You are on your own. I had an amazing interview yesterday. It was a person interview, face-to-face. Met a lady at Starbucks who spent time in prison. She actually had a baby in prison. We're going to be turning this into a video. It was a 2-hour interview. We interviewed her for 2 hours. We had 3 cameras set up to get different angles. We had some microphones going, and just a hell of a story from her upbringing to where she got heavily into drugs at about 17, in and out of trouble most of her young life, ended up going to prison, having her baby in prison. And the worst thing she said about that, when I say in prison, obviously they took her to a hospital, but she was in the delivery room with nobody, just a guard. And she said it was the most lonely. She started crying right then and there. She said, I can't believe I'm crying. I never cry. We don't process. We don't talk about things. And she was talking about it. She went back to that moment and she relived it and she remembered it and she remembered what it felt like. We need to hold on to those things that feel really bad right now, because when you get out and you start going back into your life, it's really easy to forget about where we've been and what we've gone through, because it's a point in our lives that we want to turn off and we don't want to go back to. But if you don't, you can find yourself going back in old footsteps and old ways sneak back in. The whole point of creating new habits is finding out what are your triggers and how do you avoid these old habits. My RDAP Dan wristband. This thing is not just something that I like wearing because it goes good with clothes. I wear this because it reminds me of when I'm getting ready to make a mistake, or if I made a mistake and I look down, it's like, I should know better. I've made too many mistakes in my life that have taken too much time away from my family and friends and got me doing things that I shouldn't have done before. So I look down and I see this RDAP Dan wristband that I wear now, and it's a reminder of, hey, don't dwell on the negativity. Don't get caught up in the gossip. Stay focused. Don't believe what everybody else is saying. Don't worry about what somebody else is doing. And I struggle with that to this day. I really do. I struggle with that. I get caught up in what others are doing, and I want something, and what can I do? You know, all of that trickles down, and I have to stay focused. That's why when we try, here, they're right here. That's why we have all these bands for you guys. We got them white, hot pink, and blue. And we'll have other colors coming on the next order. But these bands aren't just because I want a bunch of people running around with cool little RDAP Dan wristbands on. These wristbands, if you're getting one of these wristbands, and the link is in the description. I also posted at the top of this chat room. The link is in the description. If you want one of these RDAP Dan wristbands, click on the link, send me your information, and I will mail you one. Some of you probably already got them. Has anybody received the wristband yet? I know Kimberly ordered one. A lot of you have sent requests in for them, and I've sent them all out so far. So and they're not coming in any fancy packaging. I mean, fuck, they're free, guys. So they're coming in an envelope with a white band or a pink or blue band inside. There is an option in there. If you do want to donate, you can, but it's not mandatory. All donations are greatly appreciated. They obviously go to help the less fortunate who are in prison, who need commissary, who need clothing, who need hygiene products. That's what that money goes for. If you do donate, so if you do, great, thank you, much appreciated. But if you're struggling yourself and you just know that you struggle with anxiety and dwelling on the negative and getting stuck in that moment and not being able to pull yourself out of it, get one of these bands, because it can serve as a target for you to focus on, to break that mentality and go into something different. That's what they're there for. So it's in the link of the description. I hope you guys, if you haven't already got your RDAP Dan wristband, please click on that link and get one. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please subscribe. Tap that bell for notifications, and also text the word YouTube to 35074. That puts you on our notification list, on our text messaging list. This way, when we're getting ready to go live or release other videos, if for some reason you're not getting the notification on YouTube, you'll get it on your cell phone in a text message with a link to click on to bring you right to this live video. If your link is not working, if you are subscribed and you didn't get the link today, send me a message or a text message to my cell phone, 509-434-4695, and let me know you're not receiving the text messages, and I'll find out what's going on. Hello, Dan. I'm here. This is, what's going on, Abe? So, Abe, somebody, I ordered mine blue. Did you order it today, Abe, or did you order it a while ago? Because if you already ordered it, you should be getting it any time. Any new orders, I'll check on today to see if any new orders came in. Most of you left some really cool messages. There's a spot in there where you can leave RDAP Dan a message that we're actually gonna start releasing these messages during the live chat. So if you got something that you want to say and you want to share with the community, when you get your RDAP Dan wristband, put the message in there, something you want to tell us. We'll make sure we share that on one of our upcoming videos. Also, the new website is up. It's still being tweaked a little bit, so you can go ahead and jump over to rdapdan.com. The blog should be up there hopefully by Monday or Tuesday. For those of you that are going into the prison into a prison and you want to journal your story about what your life has been like. And if you want to start now, we can have you become one of our featured bloggers that you'll be able to blog. And if you're in prison, you just send us the email and we post it to the blog for you. There is no cost for that, guys, just so you know. I know a lot of other prison consultants charge if you want to blog on their website, but really you should know this. When you're blogging on my website or anybody else's website, it's helping our website. It's creating additional SEO traffic and it's creating additional content relevant to what we're talking about. So somebody out there is Googling federal prison or specific prisons, it's just going to bring them to me, which could be potential clients. So it's like free advertising by use blogging. So if I were to charge you to blog, that would be kind of silly because you're helping me as much as it might be helping you. If anything, we should be paying you to blog. And I say this all the time. I'm not going to pay you to blog, but I'm not going to charge you to blog. 50-50. Doll, I do. Thank you for, you're welcome. Anytime. Of course, Abe, and I know we got to finish our conversation. Dave, Tuesday, I report. Oh man, how are you feeling, Dave? Dave's been here with us for quite a long time. He's been on this channel. Hopefully Dave's going to be one of our featured bloggers. Let us know how his story's going in prison. Another call I had today, guys, and this is real. This is real life stuff. This is some stuff you guys want to think about. So one of our, I don't want to say any names, one of our clients that went to prison, he's fine. He's got a pretty lengthy sentence. I think it was like 8 or 9 years is what his sentence was. And he's got a girlfriend / fiance on the outside. And she's doing her best to be able to hang through this. And she called me today just in tears. Literally in tears. Does not know if she can do it. Doesn't know if she can ride this storm with him being gone for almost a decade. And I understand that. And on top of it, he's getting a little aggressive with, I need you to email me 4 or 5 times a day. When I call you, you need to make sure you're answering the phone. And it's like, look, when you go into prison, our lives, people in the free world, our mothers, our wives, our brothers, our sisters, our husbands, whoever it is out there that's supporting us, their life does not stop. So if you're going to start becoming aggressive and demanding, what you're going to do is you're going to push people away. You need to be appreciative of whatever time they do give you. If they're sending you 1 email a day, you need to be super stoked. You need to bring it down a level. If you're expecting to be able to call 4 or 5 times a day and talk to whoever you want, when you want, and you expect to shoot out 4 or 5 emails a day and get responses to that, you're being delusional and you're not being realistic with the situation you're in. You are leaving your friends and family with all of the responsibilities of probably taking care of you while you're in prison and maintaining their own life with the children, bills, everything else that comes with that. So show some respect and be appreciative of the people that are supporting you, because if you keep pushing people like that, they will not be there for you in the end. And it's not going to be a surprise, and it is not a bad thing. I told her, look, you have to decide what you want to do. No one can tell you that. If you want to wait for him, that's great. If you don't think you can, he has to come to terms and respect that, because it's a long time. And she's still young. She's still got a long life to live. There's things she can do. And this isn't his first rodeo. He's made mistakes in the past. He served almost a 10-year sentence. Didn't learn from that mistake. Now he's back. Who knows what's going through her mind? Maybe he's not done yet. Maybe he's going to get out and make another mistake and go back again. Is that really the type of situation? You know, there's a million questions that our loved ones will start asking. And if we're demanding while we're in there, we're only making it worse. We're only making that decision that much easier for them. And you're in a way making that decision for them. Jesse, my day in court is next month. Oh man, you must be stressing too, Jesse. All is well. You and your insight support is 100% accurate. You got it, Dave. You know, we really do love what we do here. You know, I can't, Jenny and Alex and the whole team, Shelly, you know, we all get to take enjoyment in seeing those of you that take the responsibility of the situation you're in. And don't dwell, don't blame, don't become the victim. Don't say they did it to me, they snitched on me. I wasn't doing as much as they said. It's like, okay, but did you do it? You don't need to justify it to me, because all you're doing is trying to justify it to yourself. You did what they said you did to some extent. Let's own it. Let's work on it. Let's get through it. Your personal narratives. You know, I get all the kind of questions all the time is, Dan, what are your services? What do you mean? You don't know what my services are? Services, personal narrative, character reference letter writing. Everyone's got their opinions on how that should be done. We've got a proven success track record here that where we've shown you, Jay Hugasain is in the room right now, received probation because of our services and the willing to work and do what he needed to do. But because of what we've done, he received probation. So personal narrative, character reference letters, prepping you for your pre-sentence report, meaning finding out if you can qualify for the residential drug addiction program, and then making sure you know what to say and what not to say during that very important interview, which so many of us make mistakes and say the wrong thing or don't say enough and kind of shoot ourselves in the foot and do not qualify for the residential drug addiction program. Preparing you for the residential drug addiction program. As I tell so many of you, getting into the program is only half the battle. And if you're dealing with somebody that hasn't been through the program, or at least doesn't have somebody on their staff that has been through the program, they're giving you hearsay and what they think. I personally went through the program. I personally know how stressful it is. I personally know how many people do not graduate. I personally know how many people get kicked out of the program. And I personally know how many people drop out of the program due to stress. Now, you'll hear all kinds of rumors saying only 10% of all applicants get into the residential drug addiction program. Now, that's complete BS. If you are a qualified applicant, more than likely you will get in the program. So the success to getting in the program for a qualified applicant is through the roof. Now, what does qualified mean? You need to show substance abuse disorder in your pre-sentence report within a 12-month period of time from the time you got indicted to 12 months back. So a year ago from the time you got indicted. That's the window they're looking for. Before that window, after that window is irrelevant, makes no difference. Now, if you're one of the few that has already gone past this point, you've already done your pre-sentence report, and you did not know this information, and you did have a substance abuse problem, but you did not disclose it because you were fearing it was going to cause more time, or it was going to make you look bad, or your attorney said don't say anything. That happens all the time. There are ways to get past that to also get into the residential drug addiction program. Substance abuse counselor can help with this by creating a timeline of when you actually did have your substance abuse problem. Now, it's got to be legit. You can't make this stuff up because it's going to be really hard to carry that live through RDAP. But if you do legitimately feel that you had some sort of an issue during the time frame that's required, having a substance abuse professional that understands this is super, super huge. We have 2 substance abuse professionals that we use. We have a new one that we're actually going to be using today for the first time, and I'm very interested to see what comes back on his report, to see what type of report he prepares. And if it's what we're hoping it's going to be, then this is going to be a great thing for so many of you because it's going to increase the opportunity for you guys to take advantage of this. Now, in addition to that, additional halfway house, Second Chance Act, whatever you want to call it, that is a big gray area right now because everybody wants additional halfway house time. Who doesn't? But we also know that there's been major budget cuts to the funding of federal halfway houses on how much time they can give, to some halfway houses actually closing down. So again, all the more reason to work all the more harder than everybody else to create that performance where you're outshining everybody and they'll see that you're doing it for the right reasons. And then this is when the Second Chance Act can really become available, even though it's harder to get now than it used to be. ORM, online reputation management. Some of you are going through the process right now where your name has been dragged through the mud or your company name has been slaughtered, and you're fearing when you get out, your name and your reputation has been beat up so bad that this may cause issues with, business engagements or getting a job or what your kids are going to see on the internet. If this is something that is a major concern of yours, this is a newer service that we do now provide. It is not included automatically with our consulting fee because it depends on what is needed for you for ORM. What I suggest is make sure when you're talking to somebody about online reputation management, you need to know what they're supposed to be doing. And if somebody's charging you too little, if you called up somebody and said, oh, we'll do it for $800 or $1,000, I can guarantee that they are not going to be able to do the work, and you might as well not waste your money. It is impossible to do online reputation for that price. So my suggestion is to you is don't just get online reputation management quotes from prison consultants only. Get them from online reputation management companies just by Googling, and call some of these different companies, tell them your situation, and listen to the fees that you hear. It is not unrealistic to hear anywhere from $15,000 to $40,000 or $50,000 for true online reputation management. Now, I can tell you, we do have the ability to do it for a fraction of that cost. It's still more expensive than what some people might think. But once you get on the phone with our team and they explain to you what is involved in online reputation management and what you're going to get through the period of incarceration, I can guarantee you, hands down, you will not find a better company at a better price with better services. So do me this solid favor. If you're out there thinking about online reputation management and you're already talking to somebody, at least give us a call. Let us tell you what we can do, what our team can do to put you into a better situation as you're getting released from the prison system. That's all you can really do, right? You need to do your due diligence. You need to know what's going on out there. You need to know your competition. Let me read some of these messages. Dan and others on here put me on some books that really calmed me down. While we got Dan here, maybe he re-lost those books. Relist. Oh, gotcha, Chevy. Really, guys, the main book, I should have it in here right now. The main book, besides the Bible, is Awaken the Giant Within. That book, to me, single-handedly will bring you to reality and calm your nerves and give you action-based techniques to be able to perform in your day-to-day struggles while you're dealing with this anxiety. The whole point of finding tools and techniques, you're never going to get rid of anxiety, but you can manage it. If you can manage your stress, manage your anxiety, manage your fear to a manageable level, it allows you to now keep it here and be able to still rise above it and go do what you need to do. I still feel anxiety. They call it what? The witching hour, right? 2 or 3 in the morning. 2 or 3 in the morning hits and I'm just, sometimes I wake up and that's it. I'm just awake. I come in here, I work on some letters, I check with Jenny, see what she's at. We look into the CRM, see what clients need what, see what's going on, just to kind of get my mind going and get it off of, and I'm not even sure what's causing the anxiety and stress because things are going good, but everybody deals with that in different ways. So it's still there, and going back to these books and talking about these books all the time with you guys really brings it back into a reality for myself as well. My parents became victims because of my crime. Very true. Very, very true, Jesse. And saying that and understanding that are 2 different things. So coming to terms with that is half the battle. Now what you do with that information and how you explain that to your parents and how that's divulged in your letters that you're writing to the judge, that's going to be the next issue that you need to really cover. If you get kicked out of RDAP after completing, say 80% for whatever reason, can you go back into the program and will you have to start from the beginning? If you get removed from RDAP for not, it depends what you're kicked out for. But yes, you can retake the program. Usually you have to wait, it's either 90 or 120 days before you can reapply. And yes, you have to start back at the very beginning if you get kicked out of RDAP. You don't always just get kicked out. They can also reset you. If they feel like you're progressing somewhat, but not at the level they feel, they won't necessarily kick you out. They'll just set you back 90 days. They'll put you in a class right before you. So you only get set back like 1 phase. But if you flat out just get kicked out of the program, and I met several guys that this happened to, if you flat out get kicked out, you got to wait 90 days. And for those of you that don't have serious sentences, 60 months or less, that could really start cutting into how much time you're going to get off. So that's why it's very important to understand what RDAP is all about and what you're going to do while you're in that class. I've got several clients right now that are in the program, and for the most part, I'd say 99% of them are doing really, really well. But do not get complacent. Do not, when you find yourself feeling like, all right, I'm kind of chilling right now, things are going good, I got this, that's when they sneak up on you and get you because you weren't prepared. You need to stay on your toes, Don't get complacent. Don't relax too much. RDAP is designed to keep you on your toes, to prepare you for real world situations, which a lot of us are prepared for that already. But RDAP is designed for everybody from the serious low end drug dealer that has no education all the way up to college graduates with a doctorate's degree. You're all there on a level playing field. There is no I'm higher than you or I'm more superior to you. That superior complex, that ego will get you in a lot of trouble in RDAP real quick. Do medium security prisons have dormitory style housing? Most medium security prisons are cells, Kira. And when you say medium, I'm assuming you mean like an actual medium, like there's camps, lows. Camps and lows are dormitories, cubicles. Mediums, pens are where you get into your cells on lockdown. Usually because there's a little bit more violence and they don't want inmates just roaming around at any given time. Lows, mediums, and pens have a lot stricter controlled movements, like 10-minute moves, where camps have open movement where it's pretty much open all day long. You just got to report to your assigned housing unit for count time. It's my RDAP juice. I actually got this coffee cup in RDAP. I can't remember why. I got this for some kind of an award. One of the staff members gave it to me for doing something, probably doing a pull-up or something, but not like one of those pull-ups, but like a pull-up where you bring somebody accountable for something they did. Holding people accountable in RDAP is really hard, especially in the beginning because you're not comfortable. You're not comfortable holding somebody accountable for something they did wrong. And prison mentality is against that. You don't tell on anybody. You don't bring things like this to people's attention. So in RDAP, it's the opposite. You are required to do these things. So it can be pretty stressful. So I hope everybody's enjoying the new year and everybody had a fantastic new year, safe. Hopefully nobody got in any additional trouble while they're out on pretrial. 2018 is going to be a really strong year for everybody. You just got to believe that and you got to be willing to work for that, even if you're going to prison. Look, this is the start of your opportunity to change who you've been to become who you want to be, and just realize that that process does not happen overnight. You know, in order for it to happen right, you got to give the process time to unroll and manifest into what it's going to be, and realize there's going to be roadblocks and speed bumps all along the way. And that's what RDAP Dan and his team are here for. We are here to make sure that you remember that. And when your family, just like today, received a call from a loved one, you know, from somebody that's in prison, we want you and your family to be able to use us as a support link for when you're having that really stressful day and there's just not anybody you can go talk to, because not everybody understands what you might be going through. But we do, because that's where we've been. Kira, my brother is at Hagerstown Training Center where it's mixed custody. I'd have to look into that. I don't really know anything about that facility. Is that a federal facility? I will be a better man when this is over. There you go, Jesse. Jesse, is that a federal? Has he been sentenced already, Kira, or is he just in like pretrial? A big shout out to my good friend Casey Cochran and Stephen Kaiser over at Fit Food Fresh. As you guys can see, Fit Food Fresh. If you're in the South Florida area or close to it, jump on fitfoodfresh.com. They have amazing pre-made, delivered to your doorstep, already cooked, ready to eat, the healthiest, tastiest meals you can ever imagine. And they have a variety of meals to look from. Casey was my old partner before I went into prison. And as I was entering into the prison, him and Steven started this company, Fit Food Fresh, and they have just taken South Florida by storm. Does it say anything on the back? I think it's just fitfoodfresh.com. So I don't get sponsored by them, but amazing food, amazing prices, and you can't go wrong. So take a shout out at Fit Food Fresh. What else? I think it is. Well, that's really all I got today, guys. I really just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit, give you guys some motivation, and treat this. Remember, here's what we're going to leave off on. Wherever you are in your stage right now, Pre-trial, maybe you haven't been indicted yet. Maybe you just got indicted. Maybe you're just under investigation. Maybe you've already been sentenced. Maybe you already know what type of time is coming down. Remember, whatever it is that you want out of the situation, if you want probation, if you want RDAP, if you want additional halfway house, act like you're going to get it. Go into this with the attitude that I'm guaranteeing myself I'm going to get it. And allow yourself to move forward as if what you're doing is required to qualify and be guaranteed these end results. If you do that, you are going to maximize everything that you can do to get you what it is that you want. And even if you fall a little bit short, I can almost promise you that you're going to be a lot closer to it than you would have if you had just found reasons to justify not putting in that type of effort. If you're out on pretrial right now and you're not working on community service, building a mentor network, just getting involved in your community, talking to schools, to children, how your bad choices have led you to where you're going right now. If you're not doing these things, or you're not sure what things you should be doing, this is the time to use that phone number on that screen and give me a call. 509-434-4695. The alpaca's right there, Mr. Merrick. All hail the Mexican alpaca. It's crazy. Tina. All right, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. It's rainy as hell here. I'm probably just going to go over to the gym for a little bit and keep this motivation going, right? One day at a time. People helping people. Community as method. I'm RDAP Dan. I love every single one of you. I will see you guys Monday, 2018, everybody. Let's get it done. Peace. Now I got to walk over here and hit the button.